honored to officially announce that we have awarded the City of Toronto the 14th WNBA franchise.
It's a historic day for sports in this city. Professional women's basketball is coming to Toronto. Good evening. It's official. Toronto will be home to a new WNBA franchise beginning in 2026.
The team will be the first outside of the U.S. as the league looks to expand its footprint. CTV's Mike Walker joins us live tonight from outside what will be the team's home arena. Mike.
That's right. Starting in May 2026, Coca-Cola Coliseum will be the home court for Toronto's WNBA team. But owner Larry Tanenbaum also noted today that this team will have the opportunity to play in other Canadian cities. A move that the league and the team hope will help grow the sport and inspire future generations of players.
Toronto, welcome to the W.
After much anticipation, it's official. The WNBA is coming to Toronto.
This team is Canada's team.
Kilmore Sports Ventures, led by Larry Tanenbaum, has been awarded the league's 14th franchise. Tanenbaum, who is also the chairman and minority owner of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, paid $115 million US for the team.
Our team will complete the pathway for women in this country. They can see that the sport they play, as girls and as women, is just as important and worth investing in.
Toronto has been on the WNBA's radar since the Raptors' 2019 championship run. Last year, the league sold out Scotiabank Arena for a preseason game.
I attended our Toronto game, and lots of people coming up to me and saying, thank you for making my dreams come true by bringing a WNBA game here. That's when I knew this is the right place as we're thinking about expansions.
Starting in 2026, the team's home court will be at the 8,700-seat Coca-Cola Coliseum, with occasional games played at Scotiabank Arena and in Montreal and Vancouver.
We want to use this team to elevate basketball in Canada.
Teresa Resch, who has spent a decade with the Raptors serving as Vice President of Operations and Player Development, named the team's president today.
The WNBA has never had a team internationally, and that comes along with a lot of very difficult details to work through that there is no precedent for. So it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Women's sports are gaining momentum. The PWHL inaugural season saw huge success with 3 Canadian teams. The WNBA is now tipping off its 28th season.
I think it's amazing that now female athletes are actually being recognized. And I feel like so many young girls and athletes can also relate and feel inspired.
A sentiment echoed by 2-time Canadian Olympian Tamara Tatham, who also coaches national youth basketball teams.
Young athletes are going to have role models in your country. I mean, we haven't had that in so long. It's something that you dream of, and it's something that's finally coming true.
There are also plans to build a state-of-the-art practice facility that will also be used for community initiatives. Now, as for the team's name and colors, that work is just starting, with the team planning to seek public input in the near future. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. And later on CTV News, we'll visit with one of the city's top high school basketball teams and hear from players about what a WNBA team coming to Toronto means to them and their futures in the game. There's developing news tonight from the TTC. Word the union representing nearly 12,000 workers has officially set a strike date of June 7th.
That is the first day members of ATU Local 113 were legally allowed to take job action after a no board report was issued by the Ministry of Labour this week. The news comes just hours after the Ontario Court of Appeals ruled the members' right to strike is protected by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Back in 2011, the then Liberal government passed a law banning unionized TTC workers from striking. Last year, a Superior Court judge found the legislation interfered with workers' collective bargaining rights. The province challenged that decision, but today the Court of Appeal agreed with the lower court's conclusions. For now, both sides remain at the table trying to reach a deal, but the TTC has said that if the members of Local 113 walk off the job in June, there will be impacts to transit service, but they've not said what those impacts would be.
There have been developments in the encampment protest at the University of Toronto, with the school's president now saying the encampment must end, and the university is prepared to take further action. The comments coming after encampment organizers and university officials met this afternoon. Our Siobhan Morris is live on campus tonight to break down these latest developments. Siobhan.
Well, this is the first time we've heard from President Merrick Gertler since the encampment was set up here in early May. Gertler says this encampment has violated the fundamental principle here of inclusion, and for that reason, he says it's time for the tents to come down and for protesters to move on. It is why we are hearing an offer now from the university to students who have been here protesting, one that they have 24 hours to consider. There's a lot of moving parts in it, but it starts with Merrick Gertler reaffirming the university's support of human rights. It also talks about setting up some committees, one to review the divestment process, one looking at establishing more transparency at disclosure of exactly where U of T's money is invested. There is one hard no, though, in here. It's in breaking academic ties with Israel. President Gertler, again, has given students 24 hours to mull this offer over, and he hopes that they will accept it.
Our offer is fair and reasonable. Our approach is in keeping with the university's fundamental commitments to free expression, peaceful protest, and the diversity of opinions that exist in our community. We are situating this discussion where it belongs, within the clear and robust policies and procedures the university already has in place to consider divestment requests. We are still in ongoing dialogue with the students. We remain committed to a peaceful resolution and hope that the students will accept our offer. Should an agreement not be reached, we will issue a notice of trespass and pursue any subsequent legal steps.
Of course, there are questions about what exactly those other legal steps might be. Gertler didn't rule out the possibility of using police to clear the encampment, and that has worried students tonight. That's part of why they aren't ready to say yet if they will accept the deal.
This administration claims that they want to have this encampment come to a peaceful resolution, yet they attempt to blindside us at every turn. This is a farce. They have stated to us on record that they will not call the police over this weekend. Still, the trespass notice and the lies that they spread about us, about hate speech, that they continue to talk about, lay the groundwork for a violent clearing.
So students will take the night to consider their options. They will share what they plan to do next at 11 o'clock tomorrow. We also heard from Jewish students today who talked about the hurt that this encampment has caused. They worry about what life will look like for their convocation. They say they felt unsafe. One even called this a terrorist camp. So it's clear that even if the camp moves on, there's a lot of hurt and a lot of discussion that will yet to be had at U of T. Reporting live from U of T, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Next to our first look at the forecast, with plenty of warmth and sunshine today, we are still above the average high for this year. Nice conditions for sailing on the lake, and there's more of this lovely weather to come. Jessica Smith is here with a look at the current conditions. It feels like summer yet again.
It does. We're tiptoeing towards the, meteorological start to the summer season, the beginning of June, but we're already feeling the warmth. We've seen so much of it over the last few days. Today, a much more manageable humidex and high pressure keeping the sky nice and clear after some pretty wild weather came through parts of southern Ontario yesterday. We're now sitting around the mid-20 mark for the most part around the Golden Horseshoe. It's a little bit easier to manage the humidex values today. They're significantly lower. As we make our way towards the islands and Pearson, it's a little cooler through the islands. That's to be expected. As we head through the evening, a beautiful night ahead of us. It's been a little breezy today, a warm breeze, but breezy nonetheless. That continues tonight and into the day tomorrow. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast as we wrap up the work and school week. But right now, back over to Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Jess. It's the source of frustration for thousands of drivers, and this afternoon it has been the topic of debate at City Council.
Councilors are considering ways to shorten 3 years of gridlock on the Gardiner as the city works to rehabilitate the expressway. CTV's Natalie Johnson is live tonight in council chambers with the latest. Natalie.
Hi, Nathan. Well, there does seem to be consensus on council that this construction needs to be sped up, but actually getting to that debate isn't speedy at all. It hasn't actually started yet, but I can tell you there has been a fair bit of political posturing on the topic today.
Around-the-clock construction is today the talk at City Hall, as councillors look to accelerate repairs on the Gardiner in the face of a public outcry over the 3-year timeline on the latest round of roadwork.
If there is a way to do it without causing as much misery for people who use it, that makes sense to look at.
Councillor Brad Bradford spearheading a motion to speed up the construction.
It is unacceptable when you look at jurisdictions around the world that seem to be able to accomplish this work much faster, for Toronto to sit on its hands and suggest that 3 years is an appropriate timeline.
The 30% cut to capacity between Dufferin and Strawn has snarled traffic on and around the expressway like never before, while crews work to rebuild 700 meters of elevated deck and rehabilitate the supporting structures underneath.
The initial phase, people are most frustrated because it seems like they're not doing anything. But what they need to do is, because Gardiner is being rebuilt, so you can't just repave.
The mayor insisting that she's already instructed the chief engineer and a working group to look at ways of expediting the process. Councillors now playing politics over whose idea it was to get the work going faster.
Councillor Bradford's motion really is not going to help in any case. And there's actually work being done 24/7 right now.
City staff, though, have said the primary work hours are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Saturday, with non-noisy work done overnight as and when needed.
I think it's tricky business, and for those of you who were here when we did the first phase of the Gardiner, you'll remember that contract was set up to do around-the-clock work, and we had to change course because it was quite disruptive. So I think there's a balance there.
People are saying we got to do this faster, and let's take a serious look at working around the clock. I know the downside of that is there's going to be horrendous noise for people living there at nighttime, but they got to make a choice.
A choice that council seems willing to make, arguing now about who gets the credit.
We had to scoot out of the council chamber just a few minutes ago. They're giving councillors a quick dinner break before they resume at 6:30. At some point tonight, they will debate accelerating the construction on the Gardiner. We'll bring you the latest tonight at 11:30. Reporting live, I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan, over to you.
All right, thank you, Natalie. One man is dead and another is in critical condition after a double shooting in Mississauga last night.
The shooting happened in the parking lot of a public school. Yellow crime tape greeting students and staff as they arrived for class this morning. CTV's John Musselman has the details.
Police say the shooting happened in the school parking lot just after 11 o'clock last night. The scene is on Montevideo Road. That's near Glen Erin Drive and Battleford Road in Mississauga. One man is dead and a second man is in critical condition.
There was some form of gathering here at the lot on the east side of the school. The nature of that gathering is unknown at this time, but there was some sort of altercation that occurred between the two victims and either a suspect or suspects. The number right now is we're unclear.
Evidence markers were placed throughout the parking lot as police continue the investigation. The school is open today and there will be a heavy police presence to maintain the scene and ensure the well-being of the students. Neighbors say the gun violence is unsettling.
Scary, we were talking to someone else who's lived in the neighborhood a long time, and they said this has never happened before.
I'm just shaking because even last night we thought it was just fireworks going off. And so, just because of the Victoria Day weekend, so.
It's crazy. I never thought this area would, have that kind of stuff, Because, we moved here because it's, a really safe, nice part of Mississauga, so it's, really scary.
Police say the two victims were known to each other. The motive for the shooting remains under investigation. Police are canvassing the neighborhood for any surveillance video that might show what happened in the parking lot and possibly identify any suspects or vehicles that were involved in this shooting. John Musselman, CTV News in Mississauga.
Police are investigating after a driver crashed into a home in Markham last night. It happened on Batchford Crescent in the Donald Cousins Parkway in Steeles area just after 10. One person was injured and taken to hospital, but is expected to recover. There's no word on what caused the driver to veer off the road and smash into the house.
Police services from across the GTA today gathered to launch their latest crackdown on street racing and stunt driving. It's called Project Erase, which stands for Eliminate Racing Activity on Streets Everywhere. Toronto police say they laid more than 1,400 stunt driving charges in 2023 and nearly 600 so far this year, alongside hundreds of related criminal charges. But as incidents take place across the region, officers say street racing has no boundaries and they are committed to stamping it out.
It's crucial for people to understand the risks associated with illegal street racing and the potential consequences, not only for themselves, but for other users of our roads. We want to emphasize the importance of keeping racing activities confined to legal racetracks. This is essential for public safety.
If you choose to participate in dangerous and illegal driving, you will be investigated, you will be identified, your vehicle will be seized, and you will be charged criminally or provincially. We utilize helicopters, unmarked vehicles, and the deployment of specially trained officers to help us achieve our goals.
Police are also encouraging anyone who sees or hears of dangerous driving activity to get in touch.
And take a look at this. Provincial police say they've uncovered a number of stolen vehicles, including several classic cars. Investigators say they received a complaint last year about $3 million worth of allegedly stolen cars. Last week, they say they found and seized 16 of the vehicles in question in Sterling, which is north of Belleville. 2 local men in their 50s face theft, fraud, and conspiracy charges.
Here's something off your to-do list. The province has announced as of July 1st, Ontarians will no longer have to re-register their license plates. Back in 2022, the province dropped the fees associated with the annual registration of plates, but the plates still needed to be re-registered each year. The province says only plates in good standing will be automatically renewed, meaning drivers with parking tickets or toll bills will need to renew their plates manually once those debts are paid.
And Toronto police are asking for your help identifying a suspect in a sexual assault on a GO train. Investigators shared these photos of the suspect. They say last Friday, just before noon, officers responded to a call about a woman being assaulted on an eastbound train in Union Station. The suspect was then seen fleeing down the platform stairs and north on Bay Street. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
The Ontario Liberals are requesting an update on the RCMP's ongoing investigation into controversies surrounding Ontario's Greenbelt. Last year, Premier Doug Ford reversed the decision to open up protected lands to build housing. Reports from the province's Auditor General and Integrity Commissioner indicated certain developers were favored when deciding which areas to include. Ontario Provincial Police referred the matter to the Mounties, who launched a criminal investigation in October. No information has been shared since then. Premier Ford has denied wrongdoing. His office directed questions to the RCMP, which says it isn't in a position to comment.
The Trudeau government tabled legislation that would provide citizenship rights to some children born abroad.
The proposed legislation will extend citizenship by descent beyond the first generation in a way that is inclusive and upholds the value of our citizenship. If passed, the bill extends automatic citizenship to anyone who was born outside the country to a Canadian parent before the legislation comes into force. We also introduced amendments to respond to issues raised at parliamentary committees as well as in the courts. They will restore citizenship to those we call lost Canadians. That could be someone who was never able to become a citizen or lost citizenship because of previous and outdated legislative provisions.
Parents born outside Canada will need to have spent at least 3 years here prior to the birth or adoption of their child to pass on their Canadian citizenship. Last year, the Ontario Superior Court found the current system creates 2 classes of Canadians. It gave Ottawa until June 19th to fix the problem.
The RCMP says it symbolizes a commitment to reconciliation and inclusion. Canada's National Police Force has added a traditional Indigenous ribbon skirt to its classic red serge. Officers have also been allowed to incorporate eagle feathers and the Métis sash into their uniforms. The RCMP has worked to build bridges with Indigenous communities for the role it played in colonialism.
In the Gaza Strip, Palestinian officials say Israeli forces killed at least 50 people in attacks across the territory today. Close combat was also reported in areas of Rafah. Residents say Israeli tanks advanced in the city's southeast, edging towards the western district of Yibna, which is densely populated. They also continue to operate in 3 eastern suburbs. Israel says it has no choice but to attack Rafah to root out the last battalions of Hamas it believes are sheltering there.
In Ukraine, 6 civilians were killed when missiles struck Kharkiv today. At least 16 people were injured in the attack on the country's second largest city. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called the attack extremely cruel and expressed renewed frustration at not getting enough air defense systems from Western partners. The Ukrainian army is facing a difficult challenge as it tries to hold off a Russian offensive.
A bipartisan group of U.S. senators has written a letter to the Prime Minister urging Canada to live up to its NATO commitment. All alliance allies have agreed to spend at least 2% of GDP on defense. Canada is spending well below that at around 1.33%. The 23 lawmakers say NATO is facing a severe threat and are calling on all members to uphold their commitment. 18 of the 32 allies are projected to reach 2% spending by the end of this year.
The U.S. government and nearly 30 states are suing Ticketmaster and its parent company. An antitrust lawsuit was filed today.
Our complaint makes clear what happens when a monopolist dedicates its resources to entrenching its monopoly power and insulating itself from competition rather than investing in better products and services. We allege that Live Nation has illegally monopolized markets across the live concert industry in the United States for far too long. It is time to break it up.
The Justice Department accuses Live Nation of using a number of tactics. They include alleged threats and retaliation to stifle the competition by controlling virtually every aspect of the industry. The company says it will defend itself against these baseless allegations.
The European Space Agency calls it a treasure trove. The Euclid telescope is offering this latest peek of the cosmos. 5 pictures were released today, created during the observation of 17 astronomical objects. They included clouds of gas and dust, as well as distant clusters of galaxies. The images are at least 4 times sharper than those taken by ground-based telescopes, and they could help scientists look for rogue planets and study mysterious dark matter.
Coming up, it's been called a game changer in HIV prevention. A long-acting shot approved in Canada, found to be highly effective at reducing the risk of HIV infection.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, are you planning a flight anytime soon? If you are, make sure your documents are in order. A mother was left behind on a family trip when the name on her ticket didn't match the name on her passport. I'll have my reports. That's just ahead.
The good times and great forecasts continue into the day tomorrow. So if you wanted to step outside for lunch, for a walk, to enjoy some of that sunshine, it will be a fantastic day start to finish with a much lighter wind to get the day started. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you're booking a flight, there are many ways to do it. You can use a travel agent, an online company, or do it yourself.
No matter how you book a ticket, you have to be careful your documents are in order so you don't have a problem when you get to the airport. Pat Foran has this Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. A family was traveling for a vacation, but when they got to the airport, they were told there was a problem with one of the tickets. It didn't match the name on the passport. So while Dad and the kids went to France, Mom was not allowed on the plane.
Had to leave Francesca behind to fend for herself.
The Descenza family of Bolton were eventually reunited in France, but their March vacation did not get off to a good start. Adamo and Francesca purchased tickets for themselves and their children using Expedia, but during the process, a mistake was made.
My passport was in my maiden name, and my itinerary was booked in my married name.
The couple say at the time of the booking, the agent used the name on Francesca's credit card. They say they were told their passports were not needed at that time.
When we asked the agent at the time of booking if we required our passports, we were told no, and that we would add that information at the airport.
But when the family arrived at Pearson Airport, Francesca's name on the ticket did not match her passport. At first, they were told it would be an easy fix, but it wasn't, and she was not allowed on the plane.
It was a little bit devastating to be kind of ripped apart at that point where they had to leave and I couldn't join them.
She had to buy a new ticket the next day at her own expense for $2,800. The family feels Expedia should cover that cost.
Well, the fact that I couldn't get on the plane was their fault for not making sure my ticket was booked appropriately and properly.
CTV News reached out to Expedia, and a spokesperson said the name included in the reservation was one that was provided by the traveler over the phone. We had every intention of providing assistance. However, we could not make changes as the flight had already been marked as a no-show by the airline partner. In the past, we've done stories on families that had to pay almost $1,000 to change the name on a ticket, and on a man who was denied boarding a flight because an S was missing from his name. The Deschenzes still feel they deserve a refund.
We volunteered to use our passports and were outright told we weren't needed, which is what led to this problem.
And when booking a flight, you should always use the name on your passport for all documentation. You should also keep your passport in good condition. If it's damaged in any way, you can also be denied boarding a plane. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, to the forecast, another summer-like day. I'm really enjoying this run.
It is so exciting. It just makes you feel so great. I wish I got outside more today, but tomorrow is kind of going to be a repeat of today.
Yeah, I mean, you got to run it back one time, and it's going to be the exact same tomorrow. I got out for a few steps today, and it was so nice because you had the sunshine, the warmth, but not that humidity that kind of meets you as you walk out the door sometimes. So it was beautiful to spend some time outside. The UV index, though, very high today, very high tomorrow. So get out, enjoy this early taste of summer, but don't forget to put on sunscreen. Weather is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train. Beautiful as we wrap up our day. A few light clouds out there, but it is going to remain dry. It's going to remain warm and just above that seasonal mark in a really comfortable way. We are on the positive side across the province. Peawanuck barely there, but hey, it counts. For us here in the city, we're at 24, Windsor 26, Sudbury 19. Everybody kind of settling into this really beautiful, just above seasonal trend. As we get into this evening, we'll be at 15. We should be at 11, but we're going to hold on to more seasonal-ish weather as we head in towards at least the next few days before a bit of a cooling trend takes place. Into the day tomorrow, 26 for the high. Again, everyone kind of in that mid-20 range, almost an identical forecast from start to finish throughout the day tomorrow. The bulk of that cold front that brought all that messy weather pushes its way in towards Atlantic Canada as we head throughout the day today. That high pressure that moved in, holding firmly in a beautiful way to end the week before another low that's just kind of making its way south of the prairies heads towards us. But for now, we're focusing on the sunshine, and it carries right through to the evening. We're looking at a beautiful and very clear night. Into the day tomorrow, more of the same sunshine to start. Remember the sunglasses for that drive. Getting home, beautiful as well in the evening. We see the cloud cover roll in overnight. The line of showers, this next low, will push its way in as we head through the late morning, early afternoon. For us here in the city throughout the GTA, it's going to kind of be that mid-afternoon mark as we get right around 4 or 5 o'clock. The bulk of it will be gone and we have some late day sunshine. Temperature-wise, again, that almost identical forecast in the day tomorrow, 26 for the high, 13 for the low. Beautiful start to finish. Some showers pass through midday on Saturday, but it is not a wash of a day. And Sunday, fantastic, a great way to end the weekend. Starting Monday, we begin a bit of a cooling trend, and that continues right through to about Wednesday, but the sun comes back out, not tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, but it will come back out again as we head in towards the end of next week. Nathan.
All right, thank you, Jess. Also tonight, foiling thieves using so-called booster bags to evade detection. York Regional Police cracked down on the latest crime tool in their battle against retail theft.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, to prevent HIV transmission has been around for several years.
But a new medication promises to make protecting yourself even easier. Our health reporter Pauline Chan has the details.
It's been 8 years since a daily pill to prevent HIV transmission has been available in Canada, but now there's a new drug that promises to be even more efficient.
I think it's really exciting that the new drug Apretude got approved in Canada for prevention of HIV.
Sean Hossain is with Katie, an organization to promote education about HIV and hepatitis C.
It's something that you only need to take ultimately every 2 months, and that's really great.
It's not an oral medication. It's a medication that's given by an injection in the buttocks.
And studies have shown it to be highly effective.
It is thought that better adherence is contributing to that better protection, right? Taking a pill every day is sometimes not easy for everybody.
I would really hope that the company prices it responsibly. And if that happens, then our provinces and territories can then subsidize it.
Because the drug has just been approved in Canada, pricing and provincial coverage have yet to be determined.
In Canada, we have about approximately 62,000 people living with HIV right now, and roughly every year we now get about 2,000 new cases of HIV. And so I think Apretude is a game changer.
And because the makers of Apretude, ViiV, also makes an HIV treatment and already has a patient support program in Canada, Hossein hopes they will expand that to include injection clinics for Canadians using Apretude. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A survey of Ontario's registered practical nurses suggests many are feeling the pressures of staffing shortages as that challenge only worsens. The professional body for those nurses says over the last year, more than 1,700 RPNs were registered in this province, but during the same period, more than 2,400 were lost, a net drop of more than 400. At the same time, nearly half of all RPNs surveyed were considering leaving the profession. The Ministry of Health says it's making record investments to grow Ontario's healthcare workforce now and for years to come.
The first trailer is out for a highly anticipated documentary on music legend Celine Dion and her ongoing struggle with a rare neurological disorder.
It's not hard to do a show, you know. It's hard to cancel a show. I'm working hard every day.
I Am Celine Dion shares a behind-the-scenes look at the Canadian superstar's health journey with stiff person syndrome, which impacts her ability to both walk and sing. The doc will stream on Prime Video June 25th.
R&B singer Cassie Ventura is speaking out after the release last week of a disturbing video showing her being violently attacked by then-boyfriend rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Combs has since apologized for his actions in the video recorded in 2016, calling them inexcusable. He has otherwise denied wrongdoing regarding other allegations he faces. Ventura today released a statement thanking family, friends, and strangers for their outpouring of love, expressing solidarity with those that are still living in fear, and adding, "This healing journey is never ending, but this support means everything to me."
A potential film and TV writers' strike on this side of the border has officially been averted. The Writers Guild of Canada has ratified a new collective agreement with the Canadian Media Producers Association. It sees increases in pay and minimum staffing rules and new provisions on artificial intelligence. The CMPA said the approximately 3-year deal truly values the important alliance that exists between Canadian screenwriters and independent producers.
From clothes to cosmetics, jewelry to alcohol, they've all become popular targets for shoplifters.
Police in York Region are warning the public about booster bags, devices thieves are using to thwart security systems. CTV's Janice Golding explains.
They wouldn't draw any attention if you were to carry them into a store.
But look what's inside.
However, they have been modified in certain ways in order to attempt to defeat security systems.
Detective Constable Kevin Kinsman shows us a booster bag, one of the ways crooks are ripping off retailers across the GTA.
So they've added compartments to this jacket, correct?
So this is what it looks like. This is an interior pocket. These clothing items and accessories, part of a haul York Regional Police recovered in Project Booster, a 2-month-long multi-force investigation targeting a spike in organized retail theft.
We're talking more about people that are coming into a store in groups with the sole purpose of stealing items in bulk. So it would be 500 one location, 300 at another location.
And here's one of the modified items of clothing that one of the thieves would wear, a skirt on top of a booster skirt, which is basically a large pouch with a zipper inside that they could conceal items in. Day-long shoplifting sprees targeting chain stores for items thieves could resell in the underground market.
Everything from cosmetics to perfume, jewelry, high-end clothing, and alcohol.
According to a release from the Retail Council of Canada, shoplifting has increased across all categories, including food, apparel, and footwear merchandise. Escalating inflation and a growing resale market for stolen goods are some of the contributors, but there is also an alarming trend of repeat offenders and people using violence.
They were working in cells, in like smaller cells, so there's no hierarchy structure.
During Project Booster, investigators arrested 88 people, laid 169 charges, and recovered merchandise worth more than $114,000 from an estimated $333,000 worth of stolen goods.
From the outside, the person that was arrested with this jacket, you'd never know.
An initiative they say has made a dent.
We have noticed a decrease here in 2 districts.
But police say this is a nationwide problem, with stolen goods still making their way to and from the GTA. Janice Golding, CTV News.
After the break, hoop dreams take over the 6. We check out a shoot around with some of the best female basketball players in the province who are taking their best shot at the WNBA.
The WNBA has never had a team internationally, and that comes along with a lot of very difficult details to work through that there is no precedent for. So it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Updating our top stories, it's official. Toronto is getting a professional women's basketball team. The WNBA announced today the league's 14th team will call Toronto home. The team is expected to start playing in 2026. It will be the first WNBA team outside of the U.S.
The union representing nearly 12,000 TTC workers has set a strike date of June 7th. That date is the earliest the union could take strike action after receiving a no-board report from the Ministry of Labor. While negotiations continue, the TTC CEO has said that if strike action is taken, there will be service disruptions. But what those disruptions will be are not known.
We are still in ongoing dialogue with the students. We remain committed to a peaceful resolution and hope that the students will accept our offer. Should an agreement not be reached, we will issue a notice of trespass and pursue any subsequent legal steps.
The president of the University of Toronto says it's time for the encampment on campus to go. Mayor Gertler spoke publicly after a meeting between campus officials and encampment organizers today. The school has given encampment organizers 24 hours to consider their latest proposal.
Remember to keep up to date day and night through our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca, by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news, let us know.
TD gave an update into an ongoing investigation into their anti-money laundering issues, which could end up costing the company billions. Amber Canwar, BNN Bloomberg, has more in tonight's business report.
TD Bank called lapses in its financial crime controls unacceptable today. The bank reported better than expected profit, but it was overshadowed by an ongoing investigation into their so-called anti-money laundering practices. TD's CEO said they did not effectively thwart criminal activity. The company has set aside $615 million to deal with potential penalties they might face in the U.S., although analysts warn the financial penalty could end up being much higher. Now let's take a look at the closing market numbers. The Canadian dollar edged down below 74 cents U.S. Oil prices in the U.S. slid to the lowest level since February. Canadian energy prices also declined below $66 per barrel. And it was a down day on the TSX, shedding more than 144 points. That's the latest in business. I'm Amber Canwar in the BNN Bloomberg Newsroom.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
WestJet is joining the list of airlines offering a new category that doesn't allow flyers to bring a carry-on bag on board. The no carry-on basic fare has previously been offered by other carriers like Flair Airlines and Porter. WestJet CEO told an audience in Calgary Wednesday the goal will be able to appeal to budget-conscious travelers while freeing up limited overhead bin space. The fare option would still let passengers bring a personal item that could fit under the seat in front of them.
One of the longest-running rivalries in the world of video games has come to an end after a deal between two early industry giants. Atari and Intellivision both sold popular video game consoles starting in the late 70s, fueling what's been called the golden age of gaming. Atari says it's now taking over rights to the Intellivision brand as well as hundreds of games. It's also sticking with its old rivals' plans to develop a new console.
As more companies incorporate artificial intelligence into their products, TikTok is hoping new AI offerings will attract more advertisers. The social media giant unveiled what it's calling TikTok Symphony. It promises to enable marketers to write scripts and produce videos and other material that will help generate AI. TikTok says 61% of users have made a purchase directly on the app or seeing an ad there. This comes as stakeholders in creative fields raise questions and concerns over the impact AI will have on their industries.
Meantime, another change is on the way for users of X, formerly Twitter. An engineer at the social media site confirmed reports it will soon no longer be possible to see that a specific user liked a specific post. Only the author of the post will get that information, while others will just see the total number of likes. The engineer suggested the change was aimed at letting people like posts that might be considered controversial without concern over who might see that they did so.
The Paris Games are fast approaching, and today organizers unveil something Canadian athletes hope to see a lot of. The podiums for the Olympic and Paralympic Games were revealed during an event in front of the Eiffel Tower. The podiums are made from recycled wood. The Paris Bid Committee had proposed a strong, eco-friendly plan that will slash carbon emissions. The Olympics will be held from July 26th to August 11th. It will be followed by the Paralympic Games from August 28th to September 8th.
After attending today's big WNBA announcement, the Prime Minister headed over to Mississauga to meet some young basketball players. Justin Trudeau led a dribbling exercise at Lady Ballers Camp. The charitable organization offers girl-centered programs that encourage physical, emotional, and educational development. LBC also seeks to create equitable access for every child, regardless of their socioeconomic background.
As we told you earlier, Toronto's getting a WNBA team, and likely no one's more excited than young players.
For the girls on the Ursula Franklin Academy Flames, the expansion of the league means more than just the chance to be a fan. It could mean new options for their future. CTV's Beth McDonnell has more.
They are among the best female basketball players in Ontario. Members of the TDSB's Ursula Franklin Academy Flames, the latest citywide champions from a school of their size. For them, the reality a WNBA team is coming to Toronto is exciting.
I will definitely be getting tickets.
Savia Martin has been offered spots at U.S. universities. She says for Canadian players, the WNBA hasn't been the best career choice. But with its expansion north of the border, she's looking more into accepting one of those places.
Growing up, I always wanted a team in Toronto, so I could have more role models to look up to. And I think Toronto getting a team will keep more young athletes in sport.
Professional matches are still 2 years away, but it's already changing girls' mindsets about their future and their talents being on display.
A lot of the college game has changed, and I think that we've seen that through the effects of players like Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers. It's really inspiring, and I think that that's creating a lot more talk about women in sports, and especially in basketball, because I think that throughout history we've been looked down upon in the world of sports, and now we're really showcasing that we have the strength. You just haven't given us the opportunity to show it.
Because female players tend to be physically smaller than men, the games are different.
It involves a little bit more trickery and a little bit more skill, because we have to get around each other. I think it's more interesting, and you can see more happening, and also seeing people like myself, I can look to the player and be like, oh, I have some similarities, I make similar moves.
A lot of people say, oh, it's because they're not tall enough, they can't dunk, they can't be as flashy as guys can, but that's not true, and it's very obvious when you see them play live.
Players believe the Toronto franchise will only make women's basketball more popular.
I feel like so many job opportunities will open up, and it's just going to be so lovely to see women being supported finally in the long term.
On and off the court, Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
Just ahead, a musical celebration of one of Canada's most iconic songwriters. The late Gordon Lightfoot is being honored tonight at his home away from home, Massey Hall. We'll tell you the star-studded lineup in moments.
Tonight, taking on a ticket titan.
This is all a definition of monopoly.
If you care about the consumer, cap the price.
The U.S. lawsuit against Live Nation. That's later on CTV National News.
And a reminder, the CTV News at 6 podcast is available as a download every weeknight, and a special Thursday night shout out to those of you listening to the newscast live on News Talk 1010.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, some big names in the music world will be gathering at Massey Hall in just over an hour for a tribute concert that will celebrate the music and legacy of late Canadian music icon Gordon Lightfoot.
Without Gordon, it's not the same, but we have developed the arrangements and the songs with Gordon very well. So people are really fitting in and rising to the occasion. And I think it's going to be an incredible experience for the audience tonight.
Blue Rodeo, Allison Russell, Burton Cummings, and Tom Cochrane are just a few of the artists set to perform. Proceeds from the concert will go towards supporting the revitalization of Massey Hall, which is a charitable, not-for-profit, in addition to education, community outreach, and artist development initiatives.
And I'm thinking of his song Sundown as the sun sets, and it's really comfortable at this hour.
Listen, it's a great day to just be vibing to some music outside, and it is beautiful out there. People out there on the water enjoying the fact that it is hot but not so humid as it was yesterday. It was a little bit challenging. Today, a much different story, and this more seasonal trend, this less humid trend continues into the day tomorrow. Right now, there's nothing going on the satellite radar picture, which is some good news. Right around southern Ontario, kind of in that mid-20 range still as we step into the end of our day. For the kids tomorrow, sunscreen and water, still a good idea, but not nearly as humid. And as we look ahead to the weekend, despite a few showers on Saturday, it will be fantastic from start to finish.
All right. Thank you, Jess. Be sure to join Todd Vanderhayden tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and all of us at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a good night.